I go back to what I said about Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. I think she should be up for MVP. Rookie of the Year, foregone conclusion. It's not something can be learned. I think it's, something instinctual that she has.
Dan Patrick just dropped a bombshell about Caitlin Clark and Aja Wilson. This isn't just another headline. It's shaking up the basketball world in ways we never saw coming. What could be so big that it's changing everything we thought we knew about these two stars? Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Remember when Michael Jordan transformed the NBA? Well, history might be repeating itself. What if I told you there's a player in the WNBA right now who's having a Jordan-like impact on the game? The numbers don't lie, and they're painting a picture that's hard to ignore.
Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. I'm talking about value. Michael Jordan was the most valuable player every single year because of what he meant to his team and what he meant to the league.
Enter Caitlin Clark, the rookie sensation who's taking the WNBA by storm. This former college superstar isn't just living up to the hype, she's exceeding it in ways that have everyone from fans to analysts sitting up and taking notice. Let's talk stats for a second.
The WNBA tried to capitalize on her popularity and crammed a lot of games in over a short amount of time, playing against the best teams in the WNBA.
Clark's putting up numbers that are straight up ridiculous for any player, let alone a rookie. We're talking about 26 points and 12 assists per game. That's not just good, that's elite level production right out of the gate. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the numbers with Clark. Dan Patrick dropped a truth bomb that's got everyone talking. He pointed out that Clark's impact goes way beyond the stat sheet. It's about the way she's changing the game, the excitement she brings every time she steps on the court. Sound familiar? It should, because that's exactly the kind of impact Michael Jordan had on the NBA. Now, I know what you're thinking. Are you seriously comparing a rookie to Michael Jordan? Well, hold on to your seats, because that's exactly what Dan Patrick did. He made it clear that while Clark might not have the same athletic prowess as his airness, her value to her team in the league is undeniable. Let's break it down. Clark joined the Indiana Fever, a team that hadn't sniffed the playoffs since 2016. That's a 6-year drought, folks. And what happens when Clark shows up? Boom, the Fever are back in the playoff picture. That's not coincidence, that's the Clark effect. But it's more than just turning a struggling team around. Clark's bringing a whole new energy to the WNBA.
She is always looking for the pass, and she's very, very good.
Another feed inside, and Stuckey finishes!
She's trying. Now, that can also be an indictment on her teammates as well.
Fans are flocking to see her play, TV ratings are up, and suddenly, people who've never given women's basketball a second thought are tuning in to catch a glimpse of this phenom in action. Patrick hit the nail on the head when he said Clark's value isn't just about her individual performance. It's about the buzz she's creating, the way she's elevating the entire league, and that's the kind of impact that changes the game forever. Now, let's be real for a second. Clark's not a carbon copy of Jordan. She's her own player with her own unique style. But the parallels in terms of impact, they're impossible to ignore. Just like Jordan made people who'd never watched a basketball game in their lives tune in to see the Bulls play, Clark's making people sit up and take notice of the WNBA. You might think Caitlin Clark's explosive start would have Aja Wilson feeling threatened. But Wilson's reaction? It's not what anyone expected. Dan Patrick just revealed something about Wilson's stance that could redefine women's basketball as we know it.
Was 1,800 fans. Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000.
Let's talk about Aja Wilson for a sec. This isn't just any player we're discussing. We're talking about a WNBA champion, a 2-time league MVP, and an Olympic gold medalist. Wilson's been the face of women's basketball for years, dominating the court with her incredible skills and leadership. But here's where things get interesting. With Clark making waves in her rookie season, all eyes are on how the established stars are reacting.
Well tonight, and we saw it against New York as well, knowing when to look for the three, but not to settle.
That she worked on during the break. And Thomas just fires it up there.
And that's where Dan Patrick dropped a bombshell that's got everyone talking. Patrick pointed out that while Clark is undeniably impressive, Wilson's established dominance presents a significant challenge. He said, and I quote, "Asia Wilson's MVP correct, but I'm talking about the totality of somebody's value." That's a loaded statement right there. What Patrick's getting at is that Wilson's impact goes beyond just her on-court performance. She's been a cornerstone of the WNBA, elevating the league's profile and pushing for greater recognition of women's basketball. Her influence extends far beyond the stat sheet. Now, you might be thinking this is setting up for a clash of titans, the established pro versus the rising star. But here's where Wilson's reaction changes everything. Instead of feeling threatened or dismissive, Wilson's response to Clark's emergence is something no one saw coming. According to Patrick's revelations, Wilson's actually embracing the challenge. She's not just acknowledging Clark's talent, she's welcoming it as a sign of the league's growth.
Asia Wilson is the best player in the game. Not even a debate. But I'm talking about value now.
This isn't about protecting her territory. It's about recognizing that a rising tide lifts all boats. Think about what this means for the WNBA. We're not just talking about a passing of the torch or a changing of the guard. We're witnessing a moment where the league's biggest star is actively championing its newest sensation. That's the kind of leadership that transforms sports.
Set a single season points per game scoring record, averaging 27.5 points, y'all. We know about Asia Wilson, okay? Let's get that out the way. Two-time MVP of the Las Vegas Aces, the best player in the world right now.
But it's not just about Wilson and Clark. This dynamic between them is indicative of a broader evolution in women's basketball. The competitive landscape is shifting, and with it, the entire narrative around the sport. Patrick's insights reveal a league that's not just growing in talent, but in maturity and vision. Wilson's reaction shows that the WNBA's stars understand that individual success and league success go hand in hand. It's not about who's the face of the league. It's about how many faces the league can showcase.
Step up in these situations, and her leadership is relied on heavily. Asia Wilson.
2 to shoot for Clark. She'll need the heroics here. And doesn't.
This shift in perspective is huge. It's changing how fans engage with the sport, how media covers it, and potentially even how sponsors invest in it. We're moving from a star-driven narrative to one that celebrates the collective rise of women's basketball. This unity isn't just feel-good fluff. It's shaking the foundations of women's basketball. What if I told you that Dan Patrick's revelation about Clark and Wilson is about to flip team strategies upside down? The ripple effects could change everything from player contracts to how we measure success in the WNBA. Let's talk numbers for a second. Patrick dropped a bombshell about Clark's impact on attendance. Get this, the Indiana Fever's average home attendance skyrocketed from 1,800 to 17,000. That's not just a bump, that's a seismic shift. We're talking about a nearly tenfold increase.
Their home attendance was 1,800 fans.
All thanks to Clark's presence in the league. But it's not just about butts and seats. TV ratings are through the roof and fan engagement is off the charts. Clark's not just playing basketball, she's putting on a show that people can't resist tuning in to see. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Patrick's revelation isn't just about Clark's individual brilliance. It's exposing a fundamental shift in how we value players in the WNBA. Think about it. If one rookie can have this kind of impact, how might that change the way teams build their rosters?
Their average this year, home attendance, is 17,000. And, of course, the big difference is Caitlin Clark.
Imagine you're a WNBA general manager. You're not just looking at points per game or rebounds anymore. You're thinking about star power, marketability, and the ability to fill arenas. Clark's success could lead to a whole new strategy in team building. We might see franchises prioritizing players who can not only dominate on the court, but also drive fan engagement and boost attendance. But wait, there's more. Patrick emphasized something crucial. Clark's impact might not fit neatly into traditional statistical categories. This could spark a revolution in how we measure a player's value to their team and the league. Are we on the verge of seeing new metrics that capture a player's overall impact beyond just what shows up in the box score? Think about what this means for player contract.
Caitlin Clark may not win titles. Las Vegas is still a great team. She's learned how to play the game. And she said, I had to learn how to play the WNBA way.
If a rookie can drive this kind of growth, we might see a shift in how players are compensated. It's not just about on-court performance anymore. It's about the total package, the ability to elevate the entire league.
Value? I think she should be runner-up to A'ja Wilson. The totality of somebody's value. Her value is felt every place she goes. Every arena she goes.
And let's not forget about Wilson in all of this. Her embrace of Clark's success shows a level of maturity and vision that could set a new standard for leadership in sports. This isn't just about individual achievements anymore. It's about collective growth and the rising tide that lifts all boats. The potential consequences of this revelation are mind-blowing. We could be looking at a future where WNBA games are consistently selling out arenas, where TV deals rival those of other major sports leagues, where sponsorship money flows in at unprecedented levels. But it's not just about the money. This could change the very culture of women's basketball. Imagine a world where young girls dream of becoming the next Caitlin Clark or A'ja Wilson, not just for the glory of playing, but for the chance to be true sports icons. Patrick's insights reveal a league that's not just growing, but evolving. The WNBA is no longer content to be seen as a niche sport. It's pushing boundaries, challenging expectations, and demanding the spotlight it deserves.